Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today we're talking Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. This is Season 2, Episode 4, Speak Easy and Act Tough. You guys, I have a lot to say about this one. I'm way more sucked in this series than I thought I would be going into it. I'm really enjoying it. I look forward to the new episodes. Woo, I have some feelings about this one though. First of all, are you watching it? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the cast? I'm dying to know, so let me know in the comments. Yeah, so I've had a beef with Vicky this whole time, and I mean, I don't know, I wouldn't even say Tamra so much, but I guess mostly Vicky, but I gotta say she wasn't the annoying one for me this episode. I'm giving that to Dorinda. I just couldn't imagine, and I'm going to talk through the episode, but I just got to get this off my chest. I couldn't imagine going to somebody's house for quote-unquote vacation, even though you know what the assignment is, you know, drama, Real Housewives, all that, and having all these rules. I understand respecting somebody's home, and yes, there's always going to be weirdness when you're in somebody else's home. They have their own set of rules, but I think Dorinda's taking this way too far, to the point where I love when they show interior of Bluestone Manor. Don't love the decoration, but I love when they show Bluestone Manor. But I don't love all these rules she's got in place. I just think she's being over the top about it. You know, if food really is an issue upstairs, maybe you could just say, hey, if you do eat somewhere else, just immediately bring your plate back. I don't know, something. I just think she's being way too harsh about it, way too strict. The other thing that I want to bring up right off the bat, there were two lines that actually made me laugh out loud this episode. The first one was when Eva said, I'm loving Eva, by the way. I'm loving her laid back attitude. I find her very funny on this trip. But Eva said, I'm social distancing from the bullshit, which really, I think I'm going to start using that. I absolutely love it. The other funny line that made me laugh out loud actually came from Jill. Jill says about Dorinda's bourbon. I didn't even know Bluestone Manor apparently is making bourbon. Jill says, it tastes awful. It tastes like nail polish remover. Those two lines really crack me up. Okay, let's dive into this thing. Let's see here. So everybody's throwing their own event, right? So Dorinda is doing the aerobics. And immediately she and Tamra get into it. And I gotta say, I'm not a fan of Tamra. Definitely not Vicky. But Dorinda really pissed me off during this, and I actually understood where Tamra was coming from. I'm somebody that is not confrontational, and if I get mad, it turns into tears, and I think that's what happened to Tamra. She was upset because Dorinda was just being awful to her. Again, it's her house, her rules. I get that. I'm not even that mad over the not eating thing. It was the way that Dorinda was talking to her. Literally, it started with Dorinda saying, like, you know, no food upstairs. And Tamara's like, I'm so sorry. I messed up. You know, she actually apologized. And Dorinda could not let it go. She said, do you want me to get the sign? Do you want me to show the sign? She was talking to her like a child and so condescending and rude. And I do like that Vicky and Tamara call it out later. Like, she has a book called Make It Nice. And this whole episode we saw, that's just the furthest thing from what Dorinda's doing. Again, this is where I really want your feedback. Do you feel like Dorinda was out of line? Do you feel like that she went too far? Or do you think it's her house, her rules? It might be somewhere in between. It is her house, her rules. But she took it so far and was such a bitch about it. Then she uninvited Tamra to the workout session and then wanted to know why she didn't come. It was very odd. The whole thing was very odd. Okay, so the idea of today, I guess the day, is they have a lot of events going on. They're doing this aerobics. They're going to do, later on, Taylor has an event where she's throwing a tea, and then that evening they're doing a prohibition. I gotta say, day to day, I am liking the events that they have going on. They're only there for like 8 days, but they're packing in all the events for the ladies, and I think they're doing a good job on it. I really do. I actually really like Taylor's tea. We'll talk about that coming up. Well, here they are. They're getting dressed for Taylor's tea. I liked everybody's outfits. I thought everybody looked nice. I don't know about Dorinda's, but everybody else look really nice. I love Phaedra's boots. Did you guys notice Phaedra's boots? They're like these plaid boots. They went up really high. I thought she looked really good. Okay, so they all had these parasols, umbrellas, whatever, sitting out in the sun. It just looked like a nice day. I'm all for a tea. You know how I feel about my UK friends. I love you guys so much. I love your tea. I love your finger sandwiches. Bring it on. So this is a callback to Taylor throwing a $50,000, yep, let that sink in, $50,000 tea party when her daughter turned 4. How ridiculous is that? But they all sit around. They have a nice time. It looked beautiful. It looked, I just love this kind of food. I love this setup. I think they did a good job on the theme here. I want to dive into that Tower of Treats right there. That looks delicious. Okay. I don't know. I think they did a good job on the theme. I think they did a good job. But again, it was just Dorinda that was bugging me. It was such a gorgeous place and such a nice setting, but Dorinda was just bothering me the whole time. The aerobics thing comes up, and everybody can tell that Tamra's feeling awkward, but Dorinda didn't really want. She said she's not into pandering, so she didn't really want to give her a hug, but they ended up hugging, and it worked out fine. I don't know. But Tamra says she's ready just to move on. They all go back to the house. Everyone's like relaxing, climbing in bed. Dorinda says her nap rubs off on everyone. I remember that's a big thing from Real Housewives of New York. She talked about, what was it, what did she watch? Was it Dr. Phil, I think, and take a nap every day? So it gets her ready for the evening. Tamra and Vicky are talking about not wanting to fight with Dorinda, and that's where they have the line about make it nice. That's such a lie. And I just got to figure when Dorinda watches this back and sees things like that, like that the make it nice is a lie and that the bourbon tastes like nail polish remover, she's going to like flip, right? Okay, so it's evening. It's time for the prohibition party, and Phaedra says she always understands the assignment. Everybody dressed nice for this thing, and everybody's stumbling in the heels. It was funny to watch walking in the dirt and the grass. Like, you can't just wear like flats for a girls' night in. But they all look great. They have this bourbon, and they have a bourbon expert there. They're pulling the bourbon from the barrels. Something about bunghole comes out, and everybody starts laughing. Phaedra says it sounds illicit. Vicky says she'll be whooping it up, and these people don't know how to do it. This is where Jill comes out with the nail polish remover line. Phaedra says it tastes like lighter fluid. I'm with you. And actually, what's funny is, I think it was Brandi says, brown liquor and I are not friends. That's exactly what I say too. I actually say, we're not friends. I can't be friends with brown liquor. That shit burns. I don't know how people, I just can't drink that stuff. It hurts so bad when I drink it. Even if it's like mixed together, like what's that, banana daiquiri or whatever, but if it has that brown liquor in it, it just burns my esophagus. I can't drink it. So Vicky's drunk. She's going from 11 light to being sad. And you know, I got to say, as much as Vicky bothers me, I feel for her. You know, regardless of what happened, she thought this guy was going to be her partner. He dumped her right before she came on the show. So she knows she's got to go home to that. It's got to be hard. Got to be hard to sit there, watch everybody else calling their husbands and everything else, and to deal with that. Regardless of how I feel about Vicky, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Tamra does a strip. They pull the clothes off what's his name? The butler guy. Jill says bourbon is heavy duty, should be sipped, not guzzled. Oh, it was Marco. They're pulling Marco's shirt off. Brandi says, earn your money, Marco. They have a burlesque dancer come in. She is gorgeous. I love that burlesque dancer. Everybody was complimenting her figure. She's a gorgeous woman. Let's see. They all kind of sit around and talk. Dorinda talks about knowing Jill for 20 years. She's trying to tell a story of how they ended up in London, and her. She's dealing with things that comes up a lot about Richard, the guy that passed away, her husband. And it's coming up, and Jill basically is saying that Dorinda's getting angrier as the years go on. It's like she doesn't know how to deal with it, so it comes out in anger. Well, Dorinda and Jill end up having a thing, right? Jill is trying to talk to Eva. Eva's got a morning show at like 5 a.m. or something. Jill wants to know if she can be on it. Eva kind of dances around it like, I don't know, And then Jill just wants to sit on the edge of the bed and watch Eva do her show. I didn't think it was that bad of a request. And all Eva had to say was, that'll blow my concentration a little bit. But Dorinda took it upon herself to answer for Eva, and Dorinda calls Jill thirsty, and Jill says, listen, Eva can speak for herself. Dorinda says it's awkward. Jill and Dorinda go to bed, not with each other. They just go to bed. They say they're going to bed angry. Jill stops to talk to Phaedra. Dorinda walks up and says that Jill is making things awkward. And this is where, I go hot and cold with Jill, but I actually really like Jill because Jill nailed it. She said, you don't need to dress me down, Dorinda. And that's exactly what's happening over and over, I think, is Dorinda is talking down to people. And you can say your point without being condescending. And I think that's the beef that people are having with Dorinda. Honestly, let's face it. She's clearly shown in the past problems with alcohol. And when she drinks, she gets mean. And I feel like by the end of this episode, she was getting mean. Even if you're, agreeing with the things that Dorinda was saying, that maybe Jill is thirsty and she doesn't need to be on Eva's show, whatever. I don't like the way that Dorinda delivers things. I don't think that there's a need to be that mean. And then Dorinda was calling her weak. She kept calling Jill weak. And I just thought, no, that's just Dorinda being mean. Like, she always goes for the jugular when she's drinking. And I think Jill has a point about, maybe not knowing how to deal with the loss and all. She gets dark and angry. I don't know. But I don't think that can be an excuse because I'm not saying Dorinda should be over it ever, but I'm saying, like, it's been some time. Maybe there's healthier ways to express your anger instead of calling people weak and making your house guests cry, Like, I could excuse it if it was one thing, like, oh, okay, Tamra's crying over food, whatever. But it seems to be a repeated thing with Dorinda where she's talking down to people and making them upset. And I would maybe rethink, because she always prides herself on being the hostess, maybe rethink your hostessing skills if people are saying, hey, you're making us cry and making us upset and uncomfortable. I did find it interesting when Jill kind of dropped the curtain a little bit and talked about how, I guess, Jill has known Dorinda a long time and says that they weren't close, but they've known each other and they were friendly. And Jill tried to, I don't remember if she said it was right when Dorinda's husband passed away, I don't know, but she tried to help Dorinda some and brought her on her season of Housewives and would call her up and try to talk about, because, Bobby, of course, was dealing with cancer as well. And she'd try to bond with her over things like that and be there for her. And Dorinda would say things like, well, I'll call you when my season's over in like 6 months. And it rubbed Jill the wrong way. And I get that. If that's really what happened, that would rub me the wrong way too. You don't do that to a friend, right? Like, just say, hey, I'll call you in 6 months. I'm busy. Talk to you later. So I don't know. Dorinda rubbed me the wrong way this episode. And she has in the past, but it came flaring back up. I thought maybe I felt like, do you remember, this is calling back to when she was on Real Housewives of New York. Do you remember that this house flooded at the bottom and she cried so hard and said, it was like there was a darkness, but then there was a light, because she said that she had never been through Richard's things. This would make her go through Richard's things and clear things out and lighten up the house in a sense, that kind of thing. So I thought maybe that was a turning point for her. I thought maybe we're past all this, but nope, here we are again. And I don't know. I definitely feel the thirst from Dorinda that she's dying to get back on Housewives. Even when asked about it, She said that she wasn't fired from Housewives. She was just on pause. Brandi called her, I think, delusional or something, like in the confessional. And she does seem thirsty to get back on. So maybe this is part of it. Maybe throwing the fits and stuff is part of it. But again, throw your fit, be a housewife. I love that kind of drama, but I just don't think there's a need to be condescending about it. I think it's just too much. It's too far and it's too dark and it's not fun to watch anymore. And so that's my thoughts on that. Let me know yours. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I like talking about this stuff, so I'll definitely stick with it. Let me know if you're, enjoying the season, if you're with me, if you saw it differently. I still would say Phaedra is my standout. She's been a lot of fun. I don't know what Taylor's bringing to the season, although I did like her tea party. I thought that was a good idea. Tamra, I'm neither hot nor cold on. She's fine. I think I was prepared not to like her, and I dislike Vicky so much that Tamra's not really bothering me. Let's see, who else? Jill's fine. Brandi's okay. Brandi, it's like I don't want to like her, but I think this will be boring without her, so I'm enjoying that she stirs things up a lot. Oh, I didn't even talk about it. I love that Eva was doing shots of Tito's and eating Ruffles potato chips before she went to join Dorinda's workout class. I don't know why. That just struck me really funny, and I don't think I'd do shots of Tito's, but I would eat chips before I go work out. You need energy, right? It just struck me really funny. I'm curious to see where this goes. I mean, I'm curious to see if Dorinda and Jill just kind of hug it out and sweep it under the rug, or if they deal with this next week. I'm very curious to see what happens. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hey, if you have a minute, check out my second channel. I keep putting a link in the comments. If you can't find it if you go to my main page here on YouTube at the very bottom, you'll see something like, check out my other channel. It's just called RHR. It's a backup channel. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with it yet. I think ultimately I'd love to make it a travel channel. So if you feel like hitting that subscribe button, it helps me out while I try to get that channel set up. I know I need to post to it more regularly, but right now I'm just trying to, keep up with all this stuff. But thanks so much for everything, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you have the best day, and I will talk to you again soon. If you're interested in Patreon, I have that going on. I'm recapping all the original Sex and the City series. I'm finding a lot of behind-the-scenes information out about that and talking about it every week. So check that out. Just $5 a month. And yeah, I hope you guys have the best day. And thanks so much for watching. Take care and stay healthy. Bye-bye.